what are the best settings if you are trading meme coins and you're using a bot like Photon or BullX? So that is exactly what we're going to go over today, because this is one of the most asked questions that I get. And the answer to it is really, it depends on the situation. And so we're going to go walk through every situation and the settings that I would recommend people use depending on certain situations. Before we start, if you are trading meme coins and you are looking for a community to join mine, which is Canto Labs. You can see the link right here, but I'll put the link down below too. It is a full trading community with bots, with a wallet tracker, Twitter alerts, and a community that is active all the time trading meme coins. And so if you're experienced or if you're looking to learn, definitely join up. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through all of these different settings first. And then from there, we are going to make the decision as to what we're going to set each of these to. So everything is going to be done right here. And we're going to start with slippage. So slippage is the difference between the expected price of a trade and the price at which the trade actually goes through. So let's say that I have my slippage set to 4. That means that the transaction will only go through within a 4% variance of when I wanted that transaction to go through, when I click the button. Slippage is something that mainly matters with high volume tokens, and so we are going to go over that. But first, I'm just going to walk through what all of these mean, and then I'm going to give different scenarios. So the next thing is smart Mev Protection. People always ask, what is Mev Protection? Now, Mev Protection basically is something that prevents you from getting sandwiched. So the way that I would explain this is, if you have Mev Protection on, your transaction is going to go through slower. That's just the fact. But it's going to prevent you from getting front ran. So what will happen is there will be a situation where if there's a high volume token, like I think I'll just pull this one up. If I have Mev Protection and it is currently off, I could, in theory, put through a transaction. I could, let's say I decide to buy 5 SOL right here at 4.5 million. If there is a Mev bot, which are bots that are programmed to sandwich your transactions, what it could do is it could front run your transaction and it could buy 100 SOL worth of this token. Your transaction goes in right after theirs, and then they sell on you. And you might say, well, why does that matter? Because these bots are programmed basically to scalp your buy. They are, and the same thing can happen also if you sell as well. It is important to decide whether or not you want to use Mev Protection or not, because you are taking a gamble if you don't have it on, but you are also limiting yourself if you do have it on. And so we're going to go over a couple settings and we'll just keep going. So priority fee is this is how fast your transaction will go through. And then the bribery fee is basically a fee that you pay to validators on the blockchain to try to get your transaction to go through quicker. Now, I personally use 3 different presets, and I will switch through these depending on the kind of transaction that I'm trying to put through. Now, I am somebody who I personally use higher fees because I want my transactions to go through as fast as possible. All right, so I'm just going to turn everybody around to this Word document because I feel like it'll help a little bit more. So the first situation is, let's say that you do not have a lot of money and you are trading with 1 Solana and you are trying to scalp your way up, and you are trading a high volume token, which means a token that has over $100,000 in 5-minute volume. So it's very volatile. My suggestion is that you would set your slippage to 5%, keep Mev off, Prio at 0.005, and Bribe at 0.005. This will work. But one thing to note here is that this also could be kind of high, right? I would personally use this, but you can get away with setting this a little bit lower. So if you wanted to go 0.002, 0.002, this will still work. And once again, if you have low capital, you might want to practice around and you might want to try to put through some transactions, see how fast it is for you, and if you're happy with that, but you can keep it lower. Now, I would personally use something like this, or I would use a little bit higher, just depending on the situation. When you have your slippage this low and Mev off, chances are on a high volume token, your transaction will just fail instead of you getting Mev'd. And I've had success using this actually, because whenever you're trading, if you are in a very high volatile token like this and you have your Mev off and you have low slippage, there's a good chance that you will either get the entry that you are looking for, or like I said, you'll just fail. Now, what you could do if you're trying to really make sure that you hit where you want to hit, you could bump this up to 0.01 on both of these if you're playing with low capital. But you have to keep in mind that if you're only trading with one SOL, and if you set this to 0.01 on both of these, you're paying 0.02 per transaction to buy and then 0.02 per transaction to sell, which also means that you are eating the fee from BullX or Photon too. So you're just eating a lot of fees. And so you would want to try to keep this as low as possible. There are some people that will actually even trade lower than this, but it's just, it's preference. If you are someone who is trading with higher capital, let's say that the token has $100,000 in volume, I would keep slippage at 5%, I would turn Mev off, and I would keep my Prio and my Bribe at 0.015. I'm cool with paying more money for a transaction fee, knowing that when I am buying something with size, that I am either going to get the entry that I want to get or I don't. And that is why having this slippage where it is really helps. So let's just take a look at this one real quick. So this coin is called Sitcom. This coin has $700,000 in volume currently. If you were to ask me, what would I use for my settings in this specific situation? What I would probably do, depending on how much money I was going to go in with, but let's just say for the sake of it, that I was going to put in 1 Solana. And we can even just try this. Like I'll put in 1 Sol on this just for fun. So this setting right here, so it says 4% slippage. It should be 5. 5% slippage. Mev is off. Prio is at 0.02. Bribery is at 0.015. So I'm just going to buy 1 Sol. It went through like almost instantly, right? Like that was really quick. And let's see where I filled. So I filled at, so right now the token is at 6306. I filled at 610. So I filled basically exactly when I wanted to fill. Now, I did bump up my settings pretty high here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try it again with 0.05 on both of these, and we're going to see how fast this goes through. And I'm going to buy the same amount. It was a little bit slower, right? Like a little bit slower, but it did also end up filling pretty much where I wanted it to. So like I said, I think it is up to preference as to how high you want to pump your transactions. If this thing was fluctuating a lot more, I think you would want to have your fees a little bit higher, but it just goes to show that if you are using 5% slippage, you have Mev off, and you're using 0.005, 0.005, you can get your transaction in pretty quick and also didn't get Mev'd either. So I'm currently at a 0.15 loss. I might actually just hold this for a second while I'm making this video to see if maybe I can make like 0.2 Sol or whatever. So let's say that you want to trade with Mev Protection on. What I would suggest is you can set your slippage a little bit higher. You keep Mev Protection on, and then you just crank up your Prio and your Bribe. This would be on a high volume token where you are not worried about getting Mev because you have Mev Protection on. And it just really depends on the risk that you want to take and how you want to trade this stuff. For the most part, you can keep your slippage low, you can keep your Prio and your Bribe low, and you can keep Mev Protection off. And then also with all of this being said, you can go through and you can also try this out on your own, and you can see based off of the kind of trader that you are you making one transaction? Are you making multiple transactions? Like, it just depends on how you are trading. I hope this was helpful. I know that it is a very confusing type of thing, but I think that it is also one of those things where there is not a one size fits all. I think you find the settings that you like and the risk that you're willing to take and how much you want to spend per transaction, where you want to get into each trade, and then you go from there, and then you kind of just set it and forget it. So anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. Make sure you drop a like and a comment. Let me know if you have any questions. Also join my Discord. I will put the link down below. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.